Long time no see. We just got the Banlist like 2 hours ago, and I have been thinking about first of all what the list. What the list have. So first of all, for the limited, we have Savajar, Dangerous, the Eva, and Monkey Ward. Basically, the unlimited does not really affect the meta because most of these do not have any effect right now for the meta. And what surprised me when I heard the list was the semi-limited. First of all, the Rizio is getting hit with 2x, 2 ice, 2 sword. Basically, it the core deck, the main core deck is getting smaller and smaller. The mouse is getting hit with the three most important card. Dragon Link got a win because of semi-limited of both dragons. Shavara got to 2 and is a very good news for the Unchained players. I'm very happy about it. Morphing Jar, yeah, it's just like the slowly releasing card. So the semi limited, when I heard it, I was like, oh my god, I did not expect it to be like this. I was expecting it, but when I got to the limited card, and I was blown away with the the shifter, the circular, the detonator, the cross out designator, and the triple tactic talent. I did not expect this. I expected Bonfire to be limited, and I expected the Ice and the X Rizio to be limited, but I did not expect it. This list, the Druid is a solid card when you use as a counter for the Pinsmith, but after, to be honest, after the limited of the Druid, I think the card will not be affected too much because normally you would play like 1 Magnamut and 2 Jerusalem if you're playing like a side deck tech to counter the Beansmith, but you can still play 3 board break. And for the shifter got a limited. I'm really happy about it. And yeah, Masterpiece is not a okay because it is very slow compared to the meta. And Circular coming back is a really good card, to be honest, and I am kind of getting scared of it, to be honest. And Rise Your Detonator getting limited, and basically they do not usually you play the second detonator, and if the detonator is getting banned, like banned by the SP effect, or being ripped out of the extract by Unicorn or the Cherry, basically the deck is dead, and the Rizio players have to find ways to recycle the detonator from the banished zone. And the bonfire is everyone knows it will be limited. Brilliant Fusion is, I did not expect it, but maybe because of, it's time for the card to be come out because Red Eye Fusion is out, Destiny Fusion is out, and the cards do not have any effect on the meta, so Brilliant Fusion is okay to come out because you have to play a Garnet in the deck, but you can play like a bunch of targets for the second target fusion for the Brutal Fusion, so the card is very nice. And Designator, I'm very happy it got limited because when you have cross out Designator, basically the game becomes so easy. You do not have to play around hand traps. Your opponent asks you, you just cross out Designator the Ash. I'm really happy with it. And the triple tactic talent is the I did not expect this to be limited. I mean, I've heard people like saying about like triple tactic talent should be hit, and I did not expect it to be limited. And that is a solid hit, to be honest, because I the car is very dangerous because it gave the draw two is not very important. The important part is that you have the opponent hand knowledge. And if you watch the YCS Houston, which I did not sleep to watch, basically the Memento player basically just use the talent to look at the opponent hand to check if they have any hand traps and just rip a card from the hand when going second in. That is just a maniac. And the fact that you have your opponent hand knowledge is very powerful. Like, you do not really need to rip out a hand trap basically. If they only have one starter, you can just activate triple tactic talents, rip out a starter, and just brute force through the board with like the Bestials, the Horus, the Cashier, the Fiendsmith. So there's a solid hit. And the card is very strong when you use the effect to take control of the monster because a lot of time a lot of that dies because of triple tactic talents stealing a monster. For example, like the Memento. That is a example about it. Like you got your opponent stealing your boss, and then they just use your boss for like OTK you. So I'm fine with. I'm very happy with the triple tactic talent hit, even though I have three copy of them. Yeah, and then the forbidden, like everyone is cheer have cheered for the forbidden list, and Nightmare Griffin is I'm very happy with it, to be honest. And the card is very toxic because it locks your opponent from playing the games, and it kind of reset cards that you want to be set back. I remember the day where you can send it with Beatrice or like the Curious, and then just set the Imperial Orders with Griffin, and that card is fucking toxic. Link Decoder is a very good hit because it really makes the Malice deck worse when they got hand trapped. And Abyss Dweller is very good because hitting Abyss Dweller is a huge plus, to be honest, for the game because a lot of deck plays around the graveyard, and a lot of decks basically use the graveyard. For example, like Orcus or Dragon Rulers, so, and they will be in the next box, the Alliance Inside. The ban of Bahamut Shard, I'm fine with, to be honest, because Bahamut Shard can make like I have seen like Bahamut Shard making like free toad in a single turn, and it is not very heavy. I mean, I'm fine with. Sometimes I'm fine with getting hand ripped. I'm fine with getting like your opponent look at your hand, then banish a card. I'm fine with it if I have a Borikers and they cannot stop it. But if they rip my hand, they know my hand, and then they set up like two on me negating, I'm not very happy with it. So banning Baham Shard is a very good one. And after the ban of Baham Shard, basically every water deck do not have the access to the Total Loss Zone, and only the frogs or the Paleozoic can play the frog, and I'm fine with it, to be honest. The deck really needs the toad. So basically, this is a very good balancer, and I'll be discussing about like what the impact on the game, for example. So here we have like the topping archetype. We have Raizio, Malice, Mitsurugi, Blue Eyes, Marmel. I mean, you can see it, and after the hit, like after the limit of detonator and consistency hit to Malice and Razio, Razio will, just will not be back to the meta. Yes, 7 Tachyon and 7 Ascension is still at 3, but the fact that they only have one detonator, and if they got lose that detonator, basically they lose the game. They cannot recover from that. So I believe Razio will be like a tier 3 deck or something like that, or 2 or 2.5 at most. And Malice will be still the best deck because we have the limited Circular, and Circular is a very good card. And then Malice have to play cards like uh, Silent Mining and Allure of Darkness, to get more consistency. And then they have to play like uh, the free Baldric, and then free, maybe free Shadowneer. But because the Fiendsmith is not hit, Malice Fiendsmith will be the next meta, and it will be tier 1. Rise of Fiendsmith, I do not find a future where the deck will be, tier 1.5 or tier 1. And the next deck I believe will be tier 1 is Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is very powerful, to be honest. Even though the deck is kind of like a mid-range deck, the optimal version, the ultimate way to play the deck is to play mid-range, because you have a primary engine. So the deck really have a good chance to be tier 1. About the tier 1.5 or tier 2, and close to them, I believe Memento will be the next the next 1.5, tier 1.5. And then Christian is a solid deck. They did not get hit. The Cashier package is still there. The Azumina is still there. So yeah, and maybe Ryzen will still have some tops, but if they have some tops, then people would just play Unicorn and the Cashier package to counter them. So those are the 4 that I believe will be the next meta. And then like in the tier 2 we have a bunch of decks, for example like White Forest, Viking, Ten-Pydragon maybe, Yubel, Orion, and other variation of Fiendsmith like the Primate Fiendsmith, the Fiendsmith Bestial, Cashew Fiendsmith. And they are the deck that I believe will be at around tier 2, and then all of these are just around 2.5 or rogue. They will not be any higher. Melodious can be a solid deck. I believe Melodious will come back to tier 2. But I think Mystery is still a good deck, because even though the Detonator is hit, the X and Ice Rising is hit, but Mystery only play like 2 Ice, 2 X, and so the main deck is not really hit. But because of the fact that the consistency has dropped, I believe Mystery will be around 1.5. Yes. The consistency, because they still have Nadir Servant, they can play the Sakitama, the Spirit package. So I believe that the Mystery will still be a solid deck. And that is my thought on like the meta in the short term, and then in the future, like we have the next block is the Alan Insight, and one of the deck that I believe will become the best deck is the Malice deck, because we have the Malice the Malice support, the super rare right here. Uh, we have the new spell card, so basically the deck will not be hit. And I've seen a lot of OCG player like play free of the new hair, and maybe like they can play one spell, but basically the consistency will not drop, and they can still build a lot of board because they still have the new Ad Ignista spell and the Ad Ignista monster to play with the deck. So in general, Malice will be like the tier one deck in like after the release of Alone Insight. And there are some that I believe will be like at least tier two. I mean, maybe around 2.5 tier two. One of them is that the adding is the like after the unban of Circular, and after the release of the new support, they can play through a lot of hand traps. And even if they got imperm on the link wand, they still can do a bunch of stuff with the deck. They can still put up a solid negates, but the deck will be vulnerable to ball breakers, and specifically the Dark Ruler no more. Regenesis will be a solid deck too. The deck is very powerful, and I guess the most popular version will be something like the Cashier Fiendsmith and Regenesis, or just Cashier with Regenesis, because one of the main weaknesses of the Cashier is that they are not very good at dealing with ball breakers, but and the Regenesis helps the deck play through ball breakers. And then we have the Heraldic Beast. The Heraldic is a solid deck to be honest. I believe they will be around tier 3 or rogue because they can still use the Riser engines, so yeah, the deck will be quite nice. People, I mean, I guess you guys should play it. And then Eldritch is a very good deck because of the new support of the new fusion, which allows you guys to contact fusion into it, and then the new Eldritch trap. And Eldritch is a very powerful deck, but we have to wait for the new fusion and trap for the deck to be like meta relevant, because even though like they have a lot of support in the past, like the Link 2s, but the deck is still a little bit slow. So after the new release of the new card, the deck basically can get a lot faster. And then yeah, that is all the decks that I believe will be like have some impact on the meta. White Forest, yes, I forgot White Forest, the new dragons, and the new Synchro monster, and then the new Diabells. I have played with my friends with the new White Forest card, and I find the deck to be very annoying. For example, like even if you got full loss, you got Purulia, you can still make up a board, very decent board. And sometimes if your opponent full loss you can just stand the new Diabell star and the Diabells on the field. You do not have to like make some huge combos. You do not have to do that. You just have two main monster on the field, and they basically is very hard to break. And the new Synchro is very nasty because it plays card to the spell trap zone and have the pop effect in the battle phase. So basically that is my thought on the next format and the meta app post Alliance side. Maybe in the future, like I will make a video about. I mean, I guess I'll make a video about Orcus deck post Banlist because I have been playing with the pure version a lot, and I find the pure version to be very enjoyable. So I mean that is what I wanted to say. So yeah, if you guys have any discussion or any questions, please just comment below. And these are my thought on the ban list and then the upcoming format. So goodbye and see you again.